Mark, hi.
Hi.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you again, Andre.
For invitation in such classical British club.
Thank you.
I know that you have been working for many years with Ukraine, and you know our country. You saw our country before full-scale invasion. You know what was happening, what is happening, and you're the person for whom I shouldn't explain anything. You know everything, actually.
Well, thank you very much, Andre. You're too kind.
What is your main mission, actually, in the sense of supporting of my country?
Main mission in terms of what I've been doing, particularly with the Ukraine Energy Working Group and the Department of Business and Trade, and also with wider UK consortiums. We want to increase engagement of British consortiums, British companies, finance, technology particularly, and energy, to actually kind of help lower the cost of collateral to Ukraine. And this is quite critical. Everyone at the moment is talking about private equity, but private equity and venture capital has high cost. So it's essential by utilizing traditional trade mechanisms to lower friction, increase cross-border trade, and lower the cost of financial collateral. So actually it lowers the burden in Ukraine so it can prolong the war.
Mark, this is a very interesting question. I will ask you a little bit further about this, but concerning the security guarantees, concerning the so-called bilateral agreement in the sector of security cooperation, some experts think that this is just a kind of new Budapest memorandum. Some experts think that it's a base which can be filled also by the economical things. So what is the capacity, what is the potential of this agreement between our countries?
So in terms of the bilateral agreement we signed literally 2 weeks ago, and also over the Berlin conference with France and Germany, I think it's quite critical that there is a group of countries that are signing these bilateral agreements. It actually helps focus consensus of these countries. For example, the UK has been very supportive to Ukraine, and it's been unilateral in some aspects of that support, whether it's providing tanks, F-16 training, etc. And also with Norway, the Black Sea Agreement that wishes to promote. However, unilateral agreement, whilst it is positive, can embarrass one's partners sometimes. So if everyone acted unilaterally, it's great, there's lots of equipment, but there's no consensus, and the equipment as well is very diverse, right? So you then have to maintain lots of different weapon systems. So it's far better to have consensus that promotes development, lowering that cost, and that means you can actually kind of finance those systems and actually maximize the impact those systems will have.
You know, back into your first question, your first answer concerning the economical sector, I think it's very crucial within the wartime.
I agree.
And I see that a lot of people try to make some kind of quick and not long-term projects, but you try to prepare a long-term project with a huge result and huge success. What do you think, what we have to do, we Ukrainians and the Brits, during the next year or this year, which this year will be crucial, I think, for Ukraine, not to prevail the economical problems in Ukraine, and to prevail, the economical problems in Ukraine, and to foresee potential negative consequences of the presidential election in the United States. How you see our next steps?
So I see it across a number of different sectors and fronts. So example, Russia, with its use of modern weaponry, has been effective, or was effective a year ago in November 2022 for a number of months to create critical damage to Ukraine's power and supply base. And these shortages of machines and connectivity meant that there was about a 20% production in energy capacity. And this is traditional thermal capacity, which is vital for manufacturing. Now, Ukraine isn't, unlike Russia, on a full war footing. So they're still producing a wide degree of products, and actually, whilst there might be 38 million people inside of Ukraine at the moment, whatever the projection is, consumption is very important. So you need to deliver the domestic consumption to actually drive GDP and growth. And this is something that Ukraine needs to do. I would say that Russia itself is calculated for a long-term war, as it was in Chechnya. And therefore, the cost of waging the war is relatively low if it's using missiles and drones. So therefore, Ukraine needs as much support as possible to actually kind of increase its thermal and electrical capacity. So actually, in driving down the cost of electricity and production. So it needs more help, not only with its supply chains, but actually putting in place modern automotive manufacturing, so it can actually outproduce Russia at a lower cost per capita.
Well, it's very interesting to hear your personal estimation of the situation, because you see the situation much more from economical point of view. A lot of people used to analyze Ukrainian situation, the war between Russia and Ukraine, mostly from the geopolitical point of view. However, I, as a foreign policy expert, want to ask you also a security question, political question, if you don't mind. What is the potential, the future of the cooperation within so-called Baltic and Black Sea initiative or security initiative? It's a very abstract thing. However, if we compare, we analyze who really helped Ukraine during the last 2 years, you see that Great Britain, its Baltic countries, Scandinavian countries, including Denmark, Czech Republic. So how you see the future of the Baltic security and Black Sea initiative? Because your country helped a lot within the Nord treaties and the naval cooperation. Black Sea, Baltic. What do you see with the future of cooperation between our countries and other countries and with Ukraine?
Well, first of all, I would say from a historical standpoint, the relationship between the United Kingdom and Ukraine has always been based on trade and the sea. If you look at Ukraine and its history and how the Kiev Rus established itself, it's through the rivers and the trading, the traditional Nordic and Scandinavian trading posts. And these are very strategic even today. So if you look at Britain's position in NATO, and particularly with the Joint Expeditionary Force, that's working with Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Estonia, Latvia, and down the Baltic coast. So these countries are very important because they themselves have a strong balance of trade. And this balance of trade, particularly in traditional assets and as well as crypto and alternative assets, is vital for Russia. And so restricting Russia's ability to actually kind of utilize those traditional, to project its power on these countries is very important. So that's why it's been very impressive, the response that we've been seeing, and a coordinated response from these countries can be relatively fast because they all share the same concerns on trade and resilience. Whereas if you look at the southern European countries, and if you look particularly in, say, France or Germany and some of their neighbors, they don't share the same sort of pressures that the ones in the Scandinavia and the Baltics do.
My last question concerning the moral, I would say, things, and summarizing this 2 years of full-scale invasion and 10 years of the Russian aggression against Ukraine. Your country always Ukraine, not only trade and sea, but also with a lot of practical support. What we can see, what we can say now, summarizing these 2 years of full-scale invasion, what are biggest success of Ukraine, and what are the problematic areas where we can improve ourselves?
So when you say the biggest success of Ukraine, you mean excluding the fantastic military campaign that has been fought, the bravery of your people, the cohesion and vision in terms of many of the cities in arming their resistance, beyond these successes? I think there has been a pragmatism in government, the ability to work with different and competing visions of Europe, this is non-trivial. So I think Ukraine has been very successful in its diplomacy. But although some of these initiatives have been very successful, converting them so that there is a wider alignment amongst European and non-EU partners, I think represents a significant challenge potentially.
Thank you very much. I hope that
Thank you very much.
we will record one more interview in the future, maybe in Kyiv, it's better.
Yes, Andrei, I hope to see you there in a few weeks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank for your help, for your sincere support, for your frank analysis of situation.
Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.